Most people don't fail financially because they don't know what to do. They fail because their plan assumes that they'll always feel motivated. At the beginning of the year, the motivation's high. You set your goal, you download the app, you make the spreadsheet, and for a short while, it works. Then real life shows up unexpected expenses, stressful weeks at work, social pressure, fatigue, and suddenly the budget feels restrictive. Tracking feels annoying, and progress quietly stalls. That's usually the moment that people turn inward and think, what's wrong with me? But here's the truth that most people never hear. There's nothing wrong with you. Your plan was fragile from the start. Human beings are not wired for long-term consistency powered by willpower alone. We're wired for immediate gratification, emotional decision making, and mental fatigue. So if your financial plan requires constant discipline, then it will eventually break. The solution isn't trying harder, it's building systems that keep working when motivation disappears. In this video, I'm breaking down 5 evidence-based systems that make financial goals in 2026 practically unbreakable because they work with human behavior and not against it. Before we talk about saving or investing, we need to talk about goal design because most people don't have financial goals. They have financial wishes. I want to save more. I want to get out of debt. I want to start investing. Those aren't goals, they're just vague intentions, and your brain doesn't know how to act on them. Decades of research and goal setting theory shows that specific structured goals dramatically outperform vague ones. That's why the SMART framework matters. Specific goals remove ambiguity. Not, I want an emergency fund, but more of, I want a 6-month emergency fund totaling $18,000. It's very specific. Specificity gives your brain a target. M stands for measurable. What gets measured gets managed. 18,000 becomes $750 per month, $173 per week, $25 per day. Now that goal stops being emotional and becomes mechanical. A stands for achievable. This is where most people self-sabotage. They confuse ambition with realism. A goal that ignores your current income and expenses isn't motivating, it's discouraging. Achievable goals protect consistency, and consistency beats intensity every time. R stands for relevant. This is the emotional anchor. Goal sticks when they're tied to reduce anxiety, time freedom, security, options. Money is emotional whether we admit it or not. T stands for time bound. Deadlines create urgency. Someday never arrives. A date forces actions. SMART goals don't make you disciplined, they make the next step obvious, and that's the foundation. Once the goal is clear, most people make the same mistake. They rely on memory and discipline to execute it, and then it creates friction. Every manual decision is a failure point. Behavioral finance studies analyzing over 127,000 savings goals show a clear pattern. People using automatic guarantee savings vastly outperform those using roundups or whatever's leftover method. Why? Because automation removes choices. The decision is made once the system's made and it just runs automatically. This is why a 401k works so well. You never have to decide each month whether you want to save. It just automatically gets saved. How to set the system if you don't have a 401k, you just create a separate account for separate goals and have automatic transfers scheduled immediately after payday. I'll drop a link down below in case if anyone's interested. It's a phenomenal banking system and it allows me to automatically set transfers. Treat savings like a fixed expense, not optional money. Automation doesn't feel exciting, but it works even on your worst day. Here's the stat that still surprises people. You are 42% more likely to achieve a goal by simply writing it down. Even more interesting, people who write their goals, share them, and provide regular updates have the highest success rates of all. Why this works? Writing activates clarity. Sharing activates accountability. You're no longer negotiating with yourself in private when you share with others. How to apply this simply? Write your SMART goal down by hand and identify one accountability partner. Send short, regular updates. No pressure, no shame, and if you really want to be held accountable, have some money on the line. And this consistency will go a long way. Saving systems handle one side of the equation. Spending behavior handles the other. Most overspending isn't intentional, it's unconscious. And research shows that manual awareness, not passive tracking, is what actually changes behavior. People who actively check balances and track spending reduces discretionary spending by 15+%. Not because they restrict themselves, but because awareness creates pauses, which allows you to think twice before you actually make that purchase. It's a two-part system. Part one, manual awareness, track every dollar for over 30 days. Not to judge, just to observe. And patterns will appear. It always does, so just pay attention to it. Part two, intentional friction makes unwanted spending slightly harder. 24-hour rule, where essentially if you're thinking about buying something, sleep on it overnight, and if you're still thinking about it next day, then yes, but if not, then you don't have to worry about it. Remove saved cards on your devices. Cut up cards if you have to. I've done it in the past and it helps a ton. You don't have to worry about a card if you don't have a card. Having cash set aside for certain problem categories. The goal isn't deprivation, it's intentionality. Saving protects you. Investing grows you. Most people overestimate how complex investing needs to be. Long-term data shows that broad market investing, low fees, consistency beats complexity almost every time. The system, low-cost index funds, dollar cost average, full automation, zero emotional interference, $500 a month invested consistently can turn into hundreds of thousands over time. Not because of brilliance, but because of patience. If you notice the pattern across all 5 systems, it's this. They remove reliance on motivation and replace it with structure. You stop trying to be disciplined and you start becoming an architect. And once the systems are built, progress becomes the default, not the exception.